My name is Reem. I'm 12 years old. My older sister, Dana, is 13. We lived with our mother after our father passed away. We didn't go out much, and we spent most of our time at home. One day, a man from our neighborhood, named Abu Khalid, came to visit. Everyone knew him. He seemed respectful, and no one had ever suspected him of anything. He said to my mom, "I'm taking my children and some of my relatives' kids on a 2-day camping trip. If you don't mind, let Reem and Dana come with us so they can have some fun." My mom hesitated at first, but she had known him for years, so she agreed. We were so excited, we packed our bags, and the next morning we got into the car. At first, everything seemed normal. We stopped at gas stations. We laughed. We talked. But after several hours, the city disappeared behind us, and all we could see was the desert. I asked, "Excuse me, are we almost there?" He smiled and replied, "We're close." But close turned into 2 hours, then 3, and there was still no campsite or rest stop. My heart started racing. Dana whispered, "Reem, I feel like something isn't right." I didn't answer, because I felt exactly the same. Ellipsis. A few moments later, the driver stopped the car. He turned around and said, "From now on, forget your families." We laughed. We thought he was joking. But suddenly, they took our phones and blindfolded us. That's when we realized we were in serious trouble. Ellipsis. When they removed the blindfolds, we found ourselves inside an old farm surrounded by a tall wall. There were many girls there. The youngest looked about 7 years old. The oldest was around 14. They were all silent, as if they had completely lost hope. That night, a man came in and said, "Tomorrow, you start." Dana asked, "Start what?" He smiled and replied, "You'll find out." Ellipsis. At dawn, they woke us up by force. They gave us boxes of tissues and flowers. Then they dropped us off at traffic lights in different cities. They said, every girl has to come back with a certain amount of money. If you're even $1 short. He stopped talking, but one of the girls whispered to me, "Don't disobey them. May God protect you." Ellipsis. On the first day, I stood at a traffic light. Every time a car stopped, I tried to smile and sell, but inside, I was screaming. Some people bought something and drove away. Some looked at me with confusion. Others simply closed their windows and left. When we returned to the farm that night, they counted the money. The girl who didn't bring enough was taken into another room. A few moments later, we heard her screaming. We didn't see what happened, but when she came back, she could barely walk, and her eyes were full of tears. Ellipsis. The days passed. Our lives became the same routine. Traffic lights, scorching heat, hunger, fear. Then, back to the farm. Every day we tried to think of a way to escape, but the place was heavily guarded. Ellipsis. One day, a girl named Sarah said to me, "If you ever get a chance, don't think about me. Run." I replied, "I'm not leaving you." She started crying and said, "If even one of us escapes, maybe she can save the rest." Ellipsis. A week later, while I was selling at a traffic light, an elderly man stopped his car. He noticed how nervous I looked. I handed him a box of tissues. Inside it was a small note I had secretly written the night before. It said, "We've been kidnapped. Please help us." He took the box, looked at me for a couple of seconds, then drove away. I started crying. I thought he had thrown the note away. Ellipsis. That night, we were taken back to the farm. Suddenly, we heard many vehicles approaching, people shouting, doors being smashed open. The men guarding us started running. A few seconds later, the police stormed in. One of the officers shouted, "Don't be afraid. You're safe now." All the girls burst into tears. I was so shocked, I couldn't even stand. Ellipsis. After the investigation, we learned that the elderly man had called the police as soon as he read the note. He secretly followed the vehicle that transported us until the police were able to locate the farm. The entire gang was arrested. They had been wanted for a long time. Ellipsis. Months later, I finally returned to my mother's arms. The moment she saw me, she hugged me tightly and cried, saying, "I prayed every single night that you would come back." From that day on, I learned a lesson I'll never forget. Just because someone is familiar or lives in your neighborhood doesn't mean they're trustworthy. Before going on any trip or traveling with anyone, make sure you know exactly where you're going, who will be there, and always let your family know every detail. Sometimes the most valuable thing a person has isn't money, it's their freedom and their safety.